We had hoped to be able to bring both bills to the floor today. Some members want more clarification or validation of numbers that have been put forth, that it's top line, that it is fully paid for, and we honor that request.
Good evening, Black people and all allies fighting for Black liberation, Black prosperity, and Black joy. I'm Charles Blow, and welcome to Prime. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to proceed with a final vote on President Biden's infrastructure bill tonight, despite a renewed pledge from progressives that they will vote down the infrastructure bill if there isn't a simultaneous vote on the Build Back Better bill. Pelosi has vowed to keep the House in session all night to guarantee a vote. Speaker Pelosi was highly optimistic that she would see the passage of the $1 trillion infrastructure bill and nearly $2 trillion social spending bills today before lawmakers left the Hill for a week-long break. We may have a deal at any moment. But a handful of moderates want to delay that vote until the Congressional Budget Office scores the spending bill. They say a CBO score would gauge the bill's impact, including on revenue and deficits. But a completed CBO analysis of the bill could take from 10 to 14 days, which could push a vote back to the end of the month. The moderates' request has further frustrated progressives who argue that the CBO analysis is only a ploy to put off the spending bill while securing the infrastructure vote. Representative Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, issued a statement arguing that such an analysis has already been conducted. This is what she said. A full accounting of the spending and revenue has been provided by the White House. Numerous pieces of the legislation have already been scored, and the Joint Committee on Taxation has put out analysis that Build Back Better will contribute to reducing the deficit. Following a tremendously disappointing election night on Tuesday, political analysts have underscored how badly the Democrats need to get both bills passed to avoid potential catastrophe in 2022. Joining me now is Dean of the College of Ethnic Studies at California State University at Los Angeles, Julianne Malveaux. Julianne, what do you make of the machinations that we're seeing tonight playing out in D.C.? They are still there. They may be taking a vote at any moment. We may, in fact, have to break away for that vote. But what do you think about what's going on right now?
This is why Democrats lost on Tuesday. All this back and forth, we're going to end up with something that's not going to be what President Biden proposed. It'll be less than the 3 point something trillion dollars. There'll be something closer to 1.7, 1.8. They just need to get on with it. I mean, this delaying tactic of the CBO has to score it. The CBO can take a long time to score, but they've scored parts of it already. Jay Paul was right. Where I think she's fallen down as leader of the Progressive Caucus is she has, just like the moderates are making demands, progressives need to make demands too. This legislation benefits all Americans.
But don't those two things fight against each other, the two things you were putting out there? They need to get this done quickly, and the progressives need to make demands. The more demands that progressives make, the longer it drags it out. Or is that wrong?
Well, I mean, I think at this point, what progressives need to say is we're voting now. This crap about waiting for the CBO to score legislation is simply a delaying tactic. And what do they get out of it? I think that Jay Paul and progressive allies need to go at the moderates. No apologies. Get it together, y'all, and stop slowing down progress. The entire Democratic Party is paying the more than the entire nation is paying.
Right, but if they say that they're going to vote now and the moderates are saying we're not going to vote for it unless we have the score, that means that it fails, right?
Unless the moderates can be persuaded for another call from President Biden through Pelosi bargaining with them, the moderates need to be persuaded.
Do you think that Joe Biden is leaning in as much as he could? Do you think that Joe Biden is leaning as much as he could on this issue? We, on this show last night, recounted how few one-on-one interviews that the president has done in his presidency, which is far fewer than any of his previous presidents. at this time in their presidency. He's just not using the bully pulpit in the way that other people have. How do you think that is impacting this delay in the vote?
I think that the president has not been as strong as he could be. He should be much stronger. I think the vice president also has been noticeably silent. There's a piece in USA Today by Matthew Brown, a young reporter there, Dartmouth grad, and incidentally my godchild, but I didn't have to say all that. But it's a really good piece talking about the ambivalence that with which many progressives are dealing with the vice president, because they're not seeing her as heeding to her roots as a progressive in California. So I think the White House has not done a good job, and I think that basically Democrats are paying for it. I don't know what is President Biden on a scale of 1 to 10 is like a 6 at this point. He's just like a 6.
Joining the conversation now is President and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Melanie Campbell. Melanie, what do you make of the situation we have now in Congress? They are staying there all night, according to the House Speaker. They look like they may be getting close to some sort of vote. What do you make of what's happening right now in D.C.?
Thank you, and I apologize for you may hear a little background noise. Well, I just got an award and had to run off the stage from Corps Masters Mayor here at the Southeast Tennessee Learning Center. So hopefully that background noise won't affect us.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. With Tamika Mallory and others. And so it's a really beautiful, beautiful night as always. Julianne, I know you usually here. But I think the Democrats really need to get it together, Charles. They got to get it together. And they need to get it together fast. And it's a 4-year term. So as far as I'm concerned, they need to get as much that can get done now so they can build off of that. But I live in the state of Virginia, and I don't care what anybody says. Part of the problem for the Democrats right now is they are not able, when you're having an infight, the Republicans don't have to do anything. The Democrats are doing it to themselves. So I say to the moderates, I say to the progressives, get something passed and build off of it.
Well, see, Melanie, the problem is...
Do you believe that do you believe that the failures in Virginia on Tuesday light a fire under either progressives or moderates or both?
Well, it ought to if it doesn't. The problem, again, as Melanie said, is that, as Melanie said, the problem is that the Democrats need to get it together, and they haven't gotten it together. The other real big piece of this, when we look at it, is that the base of some of these moderates needs to basically light the fire under them. These folks are lollygagging because their base allows them to lollygag. But here's the deal. We know for a fact that 80% of the American people support the Build Back Better plan because it makes their lives easier and better. Most people wanted to have some negotiation around prescription drugs, despite what Big Pharma and their purchase Senator Kristen Sinema says. So Democrats have to get the fire lit under them, but also constituencies have to step up.
Right.
Melanie, what do you think about all the machinations and the games that are being played right now? Speaker Pelosi added back a provision that had been stripped out, which Manchin did not agree with. I think this was paid family leave. She knows that he won't vote for that. Now you have the moderates in the House, in the Senate saying basically you got to score this thing before we'll even consider it. Progressives are still trying to hold out to get more on their hand. What do you make of all the machinations? Because what they do is delay, all of these things delay something from actually getting passed and signed into law.
Yeah. Well, all these folks got elected to get something done. We did what we needed to do last year. I'm nonpartisan, so I'm not speaking from that perch, but just as a voter, we voted for y'all to figure it out, right? Get in a doggone room somewhere and figure it out. It makes no sense what's been going on, and I've been quiet about it, but just at this point, enough is enough. The Democrats are going to be in the minority in a year, a little few in a year. History is a great teacher. You cannot win and keep power if you are internally fighting, not just internally fighting, you're fighting for everybody to see. And so I'm not saying the moderates are the worst or the progressives are the worst, but get in a room and figure it out and get something done, or you're going to be in the minority party. That's just what's going to happen about a year.
You know, Mel, Charles, I wrote a piece last week called Deja Vu in 2022, looking at what happened in 2010 with President Obama. All that infighting, all that back and forth around the Obamacare, around the Affordable Care Act, basically damaged the president in 2010. And I think that unless something very drastic happens very soon, we're going to be in the same place. So, Melanie, while it's a 4-year term, it's a 2-year window for effectiveness. And basically, President Biden has squandered half of that time by not offering the kind of leadership that he needs to be offering around this legislation.
Yeah. But Julianne, you
Julianne
said
Malveaux giving... Right. Julianne Malveaux is giving Nicki Minaj a run for her money with these bars. Deja vu in 2022. Melanie Campbell and Julianne Malveaux, thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your time.